Hi, Russell Cummings. Welcome to this webinar on the top 5 trends in Australian horticulture. I have a little confession to make. This is not the live webinar. This is simply a recording. We had some challenges with the recording of the live webinar, so I've had to go back and redo it again. So it's just me sitting here, and I'm going to take you through the slides and the comments that we made during that webinar. So what this webinar is on is the top 5 trends for Australian horticulture. Now, they're not the only trends that are driving horticulture forward, but they certainly are the trends that I believe are going to be impactful on our businesses moving forward in the next 5 to 10 years. And there's 5 key trends. So let's just talk about them quickly. The first one is what I'm calling the trend is the rise of the robots. And many people are saying, well, this is not going to happen that quickly. But to be honest, I think it's going to happen a lot faster than what you think. For example, in the DARPA challenge, so DARPA is the Defense Research Organization in the US, they had a challenge. So in 2004, they set a challenge for an unmanned vehicle to drive itself across a 240 kilometer broken course. Of all the starters, nobody finished the course. The best managed to do 12 kilometers of that course before it crashed, and it was unrepairable. There was $1 million prize. So the next year, 2005, they had a $2 million prize for every vehicle that completed it. 5 vehicles completed it, and 22, all but one of them, beat the previous 12 kilometer mark. Now in 2012, Google has cars on the road legally that can legally drive on the road in the US. And they are completely unmanned vehicles. So we come very, very rapidly in that sort of 8 to 10 year period to the point where we've got cars that can actually drive on roads and do things. So I think the acceleration in this area is going to happen rather rapidly. Now, one of the challenges that I find people have this robots. They have this view that robots are going to be like C-3PO and R2-D2 and the Terminator. They'll be humanoid in form. I actually think they won't be. That they will be small. They'll be numerous. We'll have many of them, and they'll be purpose-built and not retrofitted. So an example is we've taken tractors and added self-drive systems to them. They're effectively robot systems. So we've created self-drive tractors. The problem with that is that tractor is built to have a cab on it for a human, and a lot of our equipment is scaled around the human interface, which means it's scaled to actually get maximum use of our labor and efficiency rather than maximum use of the equipment. So I think that robots of the future are going to be small, going to be numerous, and going to be single and dual purpose. And we're going to use them for a whole range of reasons. And the first of those is about reducing labour costs, increasing productivity, and improving safety and quality. Now, as I said, the robots of the future are not necessarily going to be as you see them now. And robots include things like exoskeletons, and I believe that the military are already trialling these, and they are an external frame that you step into and lock into that allows soldiers to carry quite heavy payloads, 200 kilo payloads across broken country without hardly raising a sweat. So think about how you might be able to use those in labour intensive industries, in tasks in your business where people are lifting and twisting and doing those sorts of things. This could certainly help with that. I think you're going to see toolbars, mobile toolbars, instead of large tractors, large heavy tractors. So you'll have a number of small toolbars that are doing things. We'll have single purpose equipment that'll go out and it'll do things. And this could be a solar powered weed control unit, and it's a small thing the size of a small esky, goes out in the field and destroys weeds mechanically all night long, recharges its solar batteries during the day, and then heads off at night and stays out in the paddock. Apart from service intervals, you never see it again. The ones in the bottom corner here, the labour saving ones, these actually exist, and this is from a company called Harvest Automation in the States. And they have these nursery robots which are purpose designed for stacking pots and doing all sorts of tasks in a range of environments in a nursery area. They're commercially available now, and you know, if you think that robots are a long way away, I think they're going to be here much sooner than you think. So the key question is then, you know, if you assume that robots are available and cheap to own and run, how would you use robots in your business? What tasks would you use them for? How would you leverage them up? So just, you know, take the time, if you want to pause the video, take some time to think about it and answer these questions for your business. Brainstorm, think aloud, do all sorts of stuff, but get some thoughts down on how you might be able to use robots on your business. Then press the play button and start again. So that was the first trend. The second trend here is around data, and I guess the really big thing here is we've seen a massive explosion in technology. There are sensors on everything. You know, we've got sensors that tell us about climate and weather and growth rates of plants and quality and labour movements and machinery movements, plant health, water usage, soil conditions, you name it. You know, GPS trackers on just about everything now that all integrate easily with each other. So this is going to be really important, but the challenge is we're going to have more and more and more data. And so the real challenge is going to be not how you collect the data, but what you do with it. So how you analyze it. So this character here on the screen could become your next employee, because he's going to be your data analyst, sorry. And you know, so you need somebody who's going to be able to help you pull real insights out of the masses of data that are going to be available. And what sort of sensors are we talking about? So the one in the top left corner here is a sensor that's been mounted on a bee. Now that sensor is 2.5 millimeters by 2.5 millimeters, and it's old technology. They're about to release sensors that are 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter and that are fully powered. The 2.5 millimeter one here is a passive sensor, but they'll have fully powered sensors with batteries the size of grains of sand that you can glue to insects. So they're talking about using them on bees, on predator species, on that stuff to improve the quality of your IPM programs. We're going to have weather stations and all sorts of things which are currently available, but which are going to provide you a massive amount of data around microclimates and things on your farms. We can have drones. Drones and scanning technology are really powerful now. One of these drones costs about $18,000, and you can use it to do infrared scans, near infrared scans of your crops, and pull all sorts of things out. Now, if you own a Cessna plane, you can clamp the same sensors underneath that and fly your own stuff. But if you're don't have a plane or a mate with a plane, then certainly getting one of these drones is a cost-effective option, particularly when you can start to pull some real information out of it. And as I said, you know, just having the data itself, you've got to be able to analyze the data, pull some real insights out of it that are going to help you make quality and timely business decisions in your business. So the key questions are: what data will you require in your business to make better business decisions? Who will collate and analyze this for you? Are you going to outsource it to somebody? Are you going to insource it? Do you have a smart, you know, son, daughter, sibling that's going to come on board and do it? What information would be the most valuable to you? So think about all the data that's out there. What information is going to be critical to you moving your business forward? Again, just press pause, answer some of the questions, and then press play when you're ready to come back. Alright, the third trend is interconnectivity, and it sort of pulls on the last two really, because I see that there's this massive rapid expansion in technology. It's been driven by smartphones, so it's been driven by things like your iPhone and your you know, various tablets and those sorts of things, and they all talk together. Cloud computing has been really important, but the most important thing has been fast mobile internet service. Now, I know many people in regional areas don't have fast mobile internet service, but it will be coming over time. What this means is, because of this ubiquitous technology and access to the internet, it means that all our sensors, devices, computers and robots can be part of one large information system. So we can share data not only across our business, but with other businesses up and down the supply chain. We can share them with other organizations. We can get hold of a whole range of information that is going to really help us. So interconnectivity is going to really make this stuff work. and it's the stuff that dreams are made of. So when I think about interconnectivity, and these are some discussions that I've had with clients, it's already possible to do some of this stuff. But let's, for argument's sake, you pull out your drone, you fly your drone and scan your orchard, right? From that orchard, you do a detailed analysis of fruit mapping across the orchard, determining the size and density of fruit. You link that in closely with your marketing, so you understand what your clients want, and therefore you send people out with Google Glass technology. So there's industrial Google Glass technology available now, that you send them out into the field with it to pick your fruit. The glasses have a program in it that links back to your analysis and identifies fruit of the right size, and your people will then go through and just pick the fruit in this example with the green circles around it, and they leave the red fruit alone. So they're picking the right fruit at the right time, and you either leave the smaller fruit on there to grow and fill up, or you don't pick it at all if there's no market for it. So this technology has amazing things, and you could do the similar things with pruning and other things, and it also leads to probably you start thinking about robotics instead of people with augmented reality. You start to have robots doing some of this sort of stuff. So, you know, now I know there's a lot of issues around local employment and keeping people gainfully employed. I'm not thinking that you'll have, you know, swarms and swarms of robots like some bad science fiction movie, but I do believe that robots will have a place in your business for certain tasks that are either, you know, mind-numbingly boring, require intense concentration for long periods of time, are dangerous, those sorts of things, you know, unsafe. Then you probably need to have robots in those situations. But interconnectivity is going to make it all happen. So what processes in your business could you revolutionize even by interconnecting scanners, robots, people, and or equipment? And what would be the benefits to you of leveraging this connectivity? Again, just take the time to think through the issues. So press pause, think through the issues, write some notes to yourself, and then press play when you're ready to go again. Alright, so our fourth trend. The first, I guess the first three trends were really around technology. This trend is really around market. And my experience is that savvy consumers are looking for far stronger connection to their food sources, particularly as they focus on wellness, health, and food safety. So these issues are coming to the forefront, and many people are looking at it. And if you don't believe me, go and have a look at the variety of gluten-free products that are available in supermarkets today. 4 years ago, you were lucky to find one brand of gluten-free bread. I think the other day I looked, Woolworths had 9 different brands of gluten-free bread, and many of those brands had 3 or 4 different flavors, so it's a fantastic choice. That's the change that's come on in 4 years, driven by this sort of thing. So that's a focus on wellness and health. The big thing that I think for farmers is this focus also leads to people wanting to know where their food comes from and having a stronger connection with their food. I see a large distrust of what people see as corporate farming, and they have this perception that basically large corporate farms are out there running around with spray rigs spraying as much chemical as possible onto their fruit and vegetables. You know, nothing could be further from the truth. They don't sort of understand the economic arguments that go against that. But there's this distrust of corporate farming and the supermarkets and their role in the food chain. And people want to get back to real farmers. They want to know where people are going. So for me then, it's about provenance. It's about telling a great story in your business about the food or the plants that you're growing, why you're growing them, why they're better, and where they come from. And so many of you have so many good stories to tell. So the challenge here is, how can you build a better relationship with the consumer? How can you align yourself with values of your market? And how can you demonstrate that you're a good corporate citizen? And this is a slide here of that shows Farm Pride actually have a live webcam that you can go and see the free-range chickens out there, you know, scrabbling amongst the rocks, picking up seeds and doing things. So you can see them out and about. It's a really simple but effective tool to demonstrate that the chickens really are free-range and get out there and run around. Now, building strong relationships with the consumer is not for everybody. It's hard work. It takes an investment. It takes time to build a brand and money, and it's a difficult thing to do. But for those of you who are prepared to take the time, and sometimes smaller is better in this case, you can build a really strong relationship with the consumer that can get you significant premiums in the marketplace, and or allow you to move product at higher margins than what you would normally do. So again, just take the time to think and press pause and just think about it. How can you build stronger relationships with the consumer? What can you do? What story can you tell about your farm and your family and the product that you produce, or your nursery and the product you produce, and how you love it and care for it? Just press play when you're ready to go again. Okay, so my final trend is the rise of the urban consumer, and Australians are becoming increasingly urbanised. We're one of the most urbanised countries in the world anyhow, but we're getting more and more people choosing to live in inner city apartments in our major cities. And give you an example, in South Yarra, where we've run some of the Horticulture Next Generation programs, there are a whole series of apartments that are about to be completed. There'll be an extra 250,000 people will start to live in that part of the city. So there's massive influx of people that in this urban environment. Now, the thing we seem to forget is that these apartments are typically small. They've got limited food storage and refrigeration, and the consumers are prone to shop daily for their fresh food needs. They want better connection with the environment, and there's also the words, I guess the things that drop out here are about portion size. They want quality, they want convenience, and it's more about being meals that are ready to eat and meal assembly than it is about cooking. They don't have the space and things to cook things from first principles, and nor they have the time, so they just want to be able to throw things together, and taco kits and pasta kits and all those sorts of things are a great example of that meal assembly thing. I've got some other examples in a minute. So you know, there's some great stuff here, not just limited to food. These people also live in apartments with balconies and stuff, and they want to have a connection with nature again. So there's room to have balcony gardens and vertical gardens and those sorts of things. So let's look at some examples. Vertical gardens. This is taken from a Home Depot catalogue in the United States, so you can actually buy this vertical garden already and hang it on the wall in your apartment. So these things exist, and maybe they need to be purpose built for us in Australia, but I don't see too many people are out there building garden or purpose built gardens for use on balconies with the right size plants and soil and watering and that sort of stuff. There's also going to be a whole range of services that these people need. So, you know, these guys have got pets and stuff, and they have pet walking services and cleaners and all that sort of stuff. Why wouldn't they have a horticulturalist come and look after their plants and things to make sure they're growing properly? So think about the options that you might have in this space. I mentioned meal assembly. This one here's an example. So they're roast vegetables that are peeled, chopped and ready to go. All you need to do is throw the aluminium foil on the barbecue or in the oven and cook them up. You can buy them in packs for 2 or 4 people. They have flavour sachets. They're a great tool to use. Similar things in salads. So you see fresh leaves with condiments, so you can make yourself a Greek salad or a Caesar salad or whatever. Enough product in it for 2 people to have a great salad. So it's small, it's convenient, it's those sorts of things. On the right hand side here, it's about convenient portions, but also about having slightly longer shelf life and being convenient for consumers. And Pressure Fresh here in Bundaberg have done a great job on actually creating fresh avocado with a long shelf life in convenient portions for people. And interestingly, a friend just recently said to me, I was staying in his unit, and he just said, hey, if you want the avocado, there's some in the fridge, it's in one of those tubes. I buy them all the time, they're just so convenient, and it's just the right amount for me to have. So think about what you can do to, I guess, take advantage of this urbanisation of horticulture. How will you support the urban consumer? What are some of the opportunities for you and your business? It's about portion size and a whole heap of other things. So how can you support them? So what are the opportunities for you? So when you're thinking of these opportunities, think convenience, think pack size and portion size, think meal assembly. How can you give them things that they can use fresh product to create something else? Think about scale, balconies, courtyards, value-adding services, whole range of other things. Can you value add by semi-processing your product, peeling, chopping, stacking, mixing and matching product? You may need to collaborate with other growers or other producers to do some of this stuff, but I think it's worth talking about. So again, just take the time, press the button, and press the pause button, have a bit of a think about what are the opportunities for you in this space. Press play when you're ready to go again. So in summary, these are the 5 trends: robotics, interconnectivity, data, provenance, and urban consumer. So what do you see as the key trend for you? How do you see this stuff playing out for you? And what's the trend that you need to focus on in your business? It's important that you start to think of these things and start to believe that how you're going to approach them and what you're going to do, and try and steal a march in terms of changing your business model or being far more effective with your strategy by understanding some of these trends and saying we're going to focus on this trend because it gives us a real competitive advantage in the marketplace. Okay, so more resources. We're going to send you a link of the copies of today's PowerPoint and any other resource materials, and this is actually the recording for that. You can visit our website and complete our free business diagnostic, which will give you some insights into the key issues in your business. You can also register you and your team to complete free online training in a variety of business areas if you're an Australian horticultural business. This offer closes on the 19th of December 2014, and you'll find more details on the HortNextGen website. Now, there's a whole range of resources on that website, but we also work closely with businesses. If you'd like a tailored solution that's going to help you meet your specific needs, let me know, because we do work with clients around strategy and planning. So setting a plan for how you're going to grow and prosper. We help clients with implementation support, so working with them as a coach for them or their team members, and in growing and developing your team, so doing specific tailored training programs to help you and your team develop their skills around planning, problem solving, decision making, those sorts of things. All service we deliver at an agreed fixed price, and we're really happy to have a chat with you about that on an obligation free basis. So the simplest way to do that is just send me an email, a text or a message, or pick up the phone and let's have a chat to discuss how I can help you add value in your business. Now, our next webinar is by Jim Parry and is on Thursday the 11th of December 2014. That's a great webinar on creating employee passion for the brand and the consumer. If you're watching this after that date, there should be a recorded version of Jim's webinar on the website as well. So thanks very much for joining us here today. Wish you all the best, and hopefully we'll talk to you again in the future when we can talk to you more about how we help businesses turn strategy into action. Thanks.